Hello everyone, so I'm joined by Dan from West Ham Fan TV, nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to actually meet you in the flesh, you know, we've done a few collabs back and forth, and so it's good to be on the channel in person.
Yeah, a lot of you will probably thinking, what am I doing, all the way doing in East London? Well, more on that in the next few days, because we're actually been doing a bit of filming. So, what I thought best to do is, obviously we've got a bit of uprest with Rafa Benitez, Mike Ashley, and a lot going on at the moment, and I thought, you know what it is, West Ham have been in that similar kind of boat. The first thing I want to know, Dan, is like, where did it all start off and how did you get to where you are now?
Well, it all started from when we moved to this stadium. You can see in the background, that was the big thing, because a lot of us were actually behind the board. Like, there was quite a few of us that were sort of believed in the project and things like that, and thought this was a good idea to move to the stadium. And we were promised, you know, once we move to the stadium, we're going to make signings, we're going to move to the next level, you know, all of these promises. When we moved to the stadium and that wasn't materialising, you know, and we had a poor season the first season when we moved it, and then nearly went down last season, and with very little investment, selling, you know, we sold a lot of players last season, and then I think fans just got fed up. We weren't satisfied with the answers. They were embarrassing us in the media, and it just didn't seem like they were ever really going to truly, you know, put some money in and fulfill their promises. So it just boiled over, and where you know, the season was just so poor. We obviously had that famous Burnley game, yeah, where, you know, we got battered by Burnley, and yeah, I think fans just like literally had enough. And I remember like sitting there and people just getting up in droves and walking round to where the director's box.
Were you pretty scared? Because it looked scary looking from an outside.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, for me, I was gutted. Like, it was just a sad thing to see happening, you know, at my football club. You know, I was just like, what is going on? Like, this was supposed to be a positive move for us, and now, like, it's just created just so much unrest. And seeing it at the time, obviously, I was fully in support of the fans going over, letting their voice be heard, going directly to the board. And yeah, I think that's what it is. And now we're here, and we've spent like nearly £100 million, which is, it's mental. You wouldn't have thought that from last season.
Do you think that pushed it? That was the key decision.
Yeah, I think there are two things what I think to be at play. That is definitely one thing, because I think that terrified him, and they thought like, no way, if next season is like last season, basically, they knew it would get worse, and it would just get worse and worse, and they could see we weren't going to tolerate it. The second thing I think at play is we've got a quality manager in now. Now we've got, with Bilic, I don't think they ever, because he wasn't the first choice, he was like the fourth choice, they never really had the confidence to back him, which I think is wrong, because, you know, whatever happens, he's your manager, give him the funds. But they wouldn't do that, which is part of the frustration. They didn't really give him, you know, the funds to spend. But now they've got this manager who, you know, is a top class manager. I think they've put the faith in him and said, you know, take the money and do what you want with it. And they've heard the criticism of Sullivan being involved in the transfers, and now he's got a director of football. So yeah, I think they've kind of been pushed into it a bit.
So you know what I'm going to come on to now, don't you? So you've got a world-class manager, yeah, you've got a world-class stadium. You know what I'm going to come on to now is Newcastle. Yeah. How do we get to where you are, the board spending money? Do we need to take your route?
Yeah, I think whatever happens, you guys should definitely take that route. You know, because I've seen like, you know, a few guys say about obviously not going to the games and things like that. But
does that work?
But I think it's definitely a visual, isn't it? Like, obviously Liverpool done that walkout on 76 or something like that, yeah, where they walked out, and the only thing it is going to affect the team. It did affect our team. We only went when we went 1-0 down when it all kicked off at the Burnley game. We could have still been in that game, and as soon as that happened, the fans started running on the pitch. All of that, the game was dead. So it will affect the team, but it will create, you know, get the media talking. It will, you know, get Ashley thinking, and like it's going to put a negative spotlight on him and his company. So it definitely can't hurt. But I think, as much as criticism has been levelled at Gold and Sullivan, they are more connected to the club than Ashley is. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they speak back, don't they? Whereas Ashley's just completely don't hear from him, and then he sends this letter to the MP. That's only like response that we get from him. You guys are, although whatever you think of them, they're actually still communicating in the community, and we just haven't got that.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think he just views it like solely as like a business. It's there to make me money. Where it's like Gold Sullivan, I think there is that aspect, but there is this aspect of this self-pride thing that they do want to have it successful and they do want to leave that legacy, because obviously they weren't liked at Birmingham, and they haven't been liked here recently. So I think we've got the better owners, even though they've got a lot wrong. Definitely they've got a lot wrong, but I just think Ashley, it's going to be harder to get through to him. The best thing to do is to get him to sell the club, but that was going to happen, and I guess he didn't get his valuation. So if he's going to be stubborn, you guys, I think, just still have to keep getting your voices heard no matter what. Even if it's not going to work, it's just do it. Just do it. It's better to try, isn't it?
That leads me nicely on to protesting against Sports Direct outside the stores. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's not going to do anything, but I'm in the mindset is at least it's a start of something. It's a start of something. You've got to see, the thing is, I don't think protests will do anything against a club. I think you've got to target Sports Direct, target his business, Debenhams, House of Fraser, whatever, and at least it's a start in my eyes.
Definitely, yes, definitely. I think targeting Sports Direct, because that's obviously like his business, that's his baby, built up from the ground up. Any negative press, anything that's going to affect that, because it seems like he cares more about Sports Direct than he does Newcastle. So anything like that is definitely going to have a positive effect. But my only worry is that it's going to be too little, too late, because now with the Rafa situation, because this is the time he needed to spend and put that money in. Rafa's got 1 year on his contract. By the time, if you do get through to him this season, he goes, I need to spend, I'm going to spend 100 million. I think Rafa's already thought, I don't want to do business with you.
Yeah, but he's doing it just to save him.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. And he's going to think, you know what? You've sold me, a load of dreams. You've lied to me before. Make all the promises you want. I'm not gonna sign a new deal, and he's gonna be gone, and then you're gonna be stuck searching for a new manager, and then he might come up with the same excuses of, well, we're gonna see how this manager goes before we invest, and like all that stuff about, I'll wait till Rafa signs his deal before. That's rubbish. It is rubbish.
Question for you then. Give us an honest answer. Will Rafa be Newcastle manager next year?
I don't think so. I don't think. It's sad. It's definitely sad for you guys.
I don't either.
Because you guys really love him. I mean, it's so funny because
he joined you.
Yeah, well, there was that whole thing which I wanted to bring up, because before we'd got Pellegrini, like, Rafa was heavily linked. I remember Rafa was heavily linked. I'd done a video on West Ham Fan TV about it, like, saying, look, do whatever it takes, get Rafa at this club.
I kept telling you he's not coming.
Yeah, well, you did, and obviously you turned out to be right. I think because it was one of them things. I think he was like thinking, well, maybe Ashley is going to follow through. Let me see what happens. And then we were like, we need an answer type thing. And then we went and got Pellegrini. But I was also hearing we was talking to Pellegrini back in November. But the situation more, like, I had so many Newcastle fans coming up going, why would he leave Newcastle to join West Ham? Why would he do that? And he must be thinking, and this is when I said that, I wasn't saying like, well, because we're obviously this bigger club or we're better than Newcastle. This wasn't that. It was just the situation I could see with your owners. Like, yes, our owners have got a lot wrong, but yours is worse. And now obviously he might be looking and thinking, wow, look, I could have had like nearly £100 million to spend, and I've had peanuts. So that tells you, like, but yeah, I got so much stick off Newcastle fans at the time, but you can't. I think you guys obviously felt like, with how well you done last season and how well Rafa done on so little, that Ashley might look at that and think, do you know what? Imagine if we give him the money. Imagine if we back him. What could he really do then? And I think that's where, I'm sure you guys wasn't expecting it to be as bad as it has been in the transfer window, right?
Well, this summer it's been hostile. You've had the share prices go up. Season tickets have jumped by 20%. Not spend any money. We've just seen the players only just resolve the media, like with Sky and BT and so on. So there's a catalogue of stuff that's happening, and it is hostile at the moment. So it is interesting what a West Ham fan would say on that. And I want to get your final thoughts on West Ham, where he's going to finish, how your season. You got to be a little bit more optimistic now.
Yeah, definitely more optimistic. I mean, it's one of the things is you never know, it could go wrong. Being a West Ham fan, you're always waiting for it to go wrong. But we're just happy that we can actually enjoy a transfer window. We've got just a class manager, like, who commands respect. He plays really good football, like attacking football, which is something that we love at West Ham. Yeah. Big Sam, Big Sam. We didn't really like him because of that.
No, did we?
Yeah, and it was like just crap football, and then we've had to endure that for the past, ever since we moved, we've had to endure some crap football. So we've got hopefully some good football to look forward to, great attacking players, and we're hoping that we could. For me, as long as we're not in a relegation scrap, I'm happy with that this season.
Obviously, top 10.
Yeah, well, top 10 would be nice. Top 10 is definitely. I'd like 8th. I think we can do 8th, but for me, the minimum would be, as long as we're not involved in that, if we can finish 12th, but we weren't anywhere near the relegation scrap, that's progress, and then we can build, because it's still a brand new squad, mostly. I mean, we've signed like 7 players, new manager. We've got to be patient and realise it might take time, it might not happen like that. So, it's sad because I'm coming on, I feel bad, because I'm coming on the channel, I'm like...
we need to see this other side, because it is, at the end of the day, we could be that club if we sell it. But it is interesting. If you want to see more of Dan, West Ham Fan TV is in the link description. How many subs are jumping, going crazy now, aren't you?
Yeah, I think we're just about to hit 38,000, and
so get over there. Good content. I like the match pint. That's my favourite. But link is in the description. Dan, excellent.
Cheers. Thanks
for coming on. Mate. See you later. Bye bye.